Hi, I'm Elisa Casas. The Golden Podcast is an extension of my Instagram presence where, as an accidental influencer, I talk about vintage jewelry and share personal stories about my life in New York City. Join me and my guests as we explore, with humor and honesty, timeless topics about the female experience. Dating, relationships, work-life balance, aging, personal growth, fashion, travel, culture, food, sustainability, and of course, jewelry.
Hello, Pepe. Hello, Pepe. How you doing?
What do you have on your left hand over there?
Oh, okay. So, it's funny because these aren't family heirlooms or anything, but they still have stories. On my index finger, so I bought this during COVID. I was shopping a lot online during COVID, like everybody was. And I was like, that's crazy. This ring, it's so big, it's so flashy, it's totally out of my character. But I really wanted something that was out of character during COVID. And I said to myself, this ring costs a fortune. It's totally like out of character. But you know what? I don't fucking care. I'm going to buy that ring. And when we come out of this, I am going to wear that ring for the rest of my life. I'm going to wear it with jeans and a t-shirt and I'm not going to care. So that's where this one came from.
It's beautiful.
Art Deco. I really love it. It's my biggest ring, by the way. It's so big. On my middle finger is a French silver ring. I never wear silver, but it says Carpe Diem. And that's kind of like my favorite phrase. So it reminds me to live in the moment and seize the day. And on my ring finger, I found this ring right after I separated from my second husband just a couple of years ago. And I fell in love with this ring, and it's not sizable. And I said to myself, it only fits on my ring finger. I can't wear it on my ring finger because then people are going to think I'm married. And I was like, fuck it. I want this ring. You know what? I'm going to marry myself. So that's my marry myself ring.
I love that.
Yeah. Also, you can't really see it, but on my middle finger is my mom's wedding band, which just always reminds me of her.
I love that. And I love that it's with the Carpe Diem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Exactly. The reason I'm wearing these rings is because of what we're talking about today, which is having an existential crisis, especially at our age. We're both 59. Our birthdays are just a couple of months apart. And we're turning 60 this year. And what happened for me, what brought on this whole existential crisis, was that I got divorced a year ago. And it was a horrible breakup, as you know, horrible, horrible breakup. And we were together for 13 years. And I just felt lost. I felt alone. I felt lost. And it made me start thinking about my future and my life. And, you get very complacent when you're with a partner. You're just like, oh, they'll always be there for me. If I have financial issues, they'll jump in. Emotional issues, they'll take care of me. But the truth is that all we have is ourselves, and we have to take care of ourselves. So it just got me thinking a lot about where I'm going, what is life all about, all those sort of philosophical questions that, at certain times of our lives, we question why we're here. And I was desperately trying to feel joy again, which is not something that's difficult for me, but I had a very dark period of time where I couldn't feel any joy at all.
For good reason.
And every day I just woke up and I would say to myself, you know what? I have a great life. I have a successful career. I have a beautiful home. I have a daughter who is my best friend. I have great friendships. I live in the best city in the world. Is this it? Is this it? Like, this is my life? This is it? Like, it's not bad. It's better than most people's lives. But it just felt like, wow, I'm going to be 60 years old and this is it. And I couldn't figure out if I was feeling this way because of the breakup or because I was turning 60 or a combination. So I started talking to friends our age, and I realized that everyone was kind of going through something. Some people were retiring. That's a really big change of life. Some people were empty nesters. Some people were having health issues. Um, Friends our age have been dying. I had a friend who died in December, 59 years old. Um, Unhappy marriages. They're in a marriage that they're not happy. What do they do? So I realized that everyone was kind of going through the same thing. One of the common themes is sort of feeling your mortality. I never really thought about death before, but now I'm like, well, how long do I have? My mom got leukemia at 63 and she lived to 70, but those were horrible years. I'm going to be 60. Do I have 3 more years? So, talking to you was really helpful because I know that you're going through similar things, and I guess everyone is. But no one really talks about it. And I feel good. I feel young. I feel healthy. I feel like a teenager. I started running 2 years ago. I started doing things to give myself more purpose in life,
Mhm.
things that would bring me joy, like collecting art. Just always sort of looking to the future and looking for things that would, creative things, for example, being creative makes me feel good. Going to a museum makes me feel good. But I feel like I'm on this hamster wheel of like I'm dancing as fast as I can to not be depressed.
Yeah.
Like if I run every day and if I go to museums all the time and I plan a trip and I do this and I do that, maybe I won't have a moment where I need to sit and think, wait a second, I am aging. I am getting older. Like part of it is just accepting that that's life.
Well, part of it is accepting the dialectic that those two things can be true at the same time.
Right.
You can feel existential dread and worry that you're turning 60 and that your mother was 63. And you can feel immense joy and be present in the moment. They're not mutually exclusive. And so reminding yourself
Mm-hmm.
that even when you hit the existential shit spiral and you still have joy and beauty and excitement and planning and events and things that bring you joy. So for me, when I feel that existential oi, I plan things. I buy tickets, I plan trips, I put things in my schedule so that I know I have things to look forward to during the times that are dark. My mother was sick and dying in some way, shape, or form for quite a while. And what I realized was I could sit in the kind of apprehension of that because it feels like you're waiting for the next shoe to fall.
Yeah. I feel like that too.
Right.
With my dad.
Right. He's
With my
88.
dog. It's like, is it going to be tomorrow? Is it going to be next week?
Right.
I mean, I don't want to think that way. And I think when you're young, it's so easy not to think that way. Young people don't think about their death. They don't even think about their parents' death. They're just like going through life, having a good time and enjoying everything.
Right.
And then maybe something will happen that makes them question their existence,
Right.
their lives, the purpose of things. I don't know.
So I'm going to tell you a funny story
Yeah.
about being a therapist and aging and existential dread. So I'm seeing a client on Zoom, and young people in their 20s don't have an accurate read of people's ages
Yeah.
in general. So I'm talking to a client, she's in her 20s, and she's talking about how she's afraid to take this opportunity in some other state, Colorado or something, because she's afraid her parents are going to die while she's gone.
Yeah.
And so I said quizzically, "How old are your parents?" And she said, 58.
Wow.
I all but had a stroke.
Oh my
I
God.
was like, "Doy." She clearly has no idea how old I am.
Right.
Like I'm not sitting in a rocking chair waiting for my demise. but also such an inaccurate read
Right.
of her parents' ages. And I did ask I was like, so are they healthy?
Yeah.
Is everyone well? They're fine. They were all working. Everything's great. She had a sibling at home. Everything was fine. But she was afraid they were going to die.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, they're fine. They're 58 years old. I think, number one, when we were kids, I remember my grandfather turning 60 and he was elderly.
Mm-hmm.
Like that man was old, right? Like he shuffled and his hair was white and my hair's white, but not naturally. The way 60 was 30 years ago was completely different than it is now. I said the other day, and I feel
a grandma was a real grandma. Now it's like a hot MILF type. It's true.
For sure. And I think I said this the other day, I feel like I'm aging in reverse. I feel like I look 10 years younger than I did 10 years ago.
I mean, you're very lucky.
But it's like I'm working so hard. And this is one of the ways that I am managing the existential looming schmutz of who's going to take care of me, what's that going to look like, by making sure that my body and my mind are well taken care of.
The healthiest it could be. Yeah.
Right. As a therapist, I'm really good at taking care of my mind. I figure out what I need to do to be mentally healthy. But the caring for your body and trying to figure out how your mobility will be and where are you going to position yourself in terms of wellness. I take my supplements every day. I lift heavy. I ride a bike. I just started dabbling in little bits of running.
You are an inspiration. And when I said lucky, I don't mean lucky like you have great genetics. Like what I mean is that for someone our age to have this thing that you can work at like every day and you see these results and every day you're feeling better and you're losing weight, you're losing fat, you're stronger. I mean, that's pretty amazing, But
that balances the existential schmutz for me.
Right.
Right. I feel it. But when I'm at the gym, I don't hear it. I don't think about it. I don't worry about it.
Right.
I just do what's in front of me, which is like lifting the heavy thing or moving my body in a way that's good for me. It allows me to push out all the other stuff. That doesn't mean that the other stuff's not there, because sometimes I leave the gym high as a kite and I get in the car and there's a text from one of my parents saying someone's on their way to the emergency room. And it's gone.
God, your dad's been going to the emergency room
all the time,
twice a month.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And so the mortality thing, I think for us comes from not just seeing friends have kind of crisis driven stuff, but watching our parents and knowing that they're counting on us to take care of them, then in turn causes us to wonder, what's that going to look like for me? And what does that mean in 2025? Because it's very different than it might have been in 1975.
No. And, I spend more time alone now than I ever have in my life. They say the older you get, the more time alone you spend. And look at my dad. I mean, my dad doesn't really leave his apartment more than probably once or twice a week. And I think about that a lot because I like being alone. Like we talked about being only children, and I am fine on my own. I enjoy being on my own, but I've also been in a relationship since I was 18 years old. So I'm used to having this person, my person, who, something good happens, you call them. Something bad happens, you call them. It just feels like that is completely gone from my life. And, I enjoy making myself dinner and sitting down and watching a great TV show. I go out a lot. I see friends a lot. But again, it's like, okay, is this just the way it's going to be now for the rest of my life? Like, that's what I keep coming back to, is the way things are now, the way things always are going to be. And if so, it's not a bad life. I'm not complaining. I have so much to be grateful for. And believe me, I go through my gratitude list every single day. But, you always like want more. You want, I would like to eventually meet somebody. I would like to have another passionate relationship. I would love to have someone to travel with. Like I can travel on my own, but it's not the same. So I really lean on my friends because I need that constant interaction. I'm
Right.
just one of those people. I just need to call somebody
Same.
3-4 times a day
Well,
and
that's
have an
why I
interesting
FaceTime you.
conversation.
That's why I
Right.
FaceTime you. People think it's weird that I FaceTime them, but I
Right.
like a face.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't always want like a disembodied voice on the phone. I want to see your face.
Right.
So, Elisa, can you tell me about your gratitude list? Because this surprises me.
Yeah.
Like I
know I'm
don't-
not spiritual
I
that
never
way.
imagined you to be the gratitude list kind of girl.
Well,
so I want to know.
Listen, when you get a divorce, there's two things. The kind of divorce I had, which was we both
Traumatic.
loved each other. Two people could not love each other more, but we had to break up, which is crazy. And we still love each other. It's 2 years later. I mean, a year since we've been divorced, 2 years since we separated. We still love each other. I don't imagine I'm ever going to be with anyone. I don't think he's ever going to be with anyone. But it's what happens is when you're suddenly alone, I keep hanging on to this, that it's an opportunity for self-growth. And it is true. It like when you're alone, you are forced to like look at your life and figure things out. And I knew when I was planning to get divorced that I was going to do everything right. You know me. It's like I got the best therapist and I read all the books and I got to the end of Google. I literally
You
got
did.
to the end
You
of
called
Google.
me. You called me to tell
I'm
me
like,
you
now
got to
what?
the
I
end.
got to the end of Google about this subject. What do I do now? And I did everything right, but I still have that feeling of, is this all there is? So the gratitude list helps me. It helps me to put into perspective how great my life is. And the only thing that I don't have in my life is a partner. And it's only been a year. And maybe this is just the way it's going to be. And if it is, okay, then I have to figure out how to live my life in this way, maybe for the rest of my life. I don't know. So do you want me to go through my gratitude list?
Well,
Or?
tell me is it a practice? Do you do it every morning? Is it pen and
No,
paper? Do you
not
do it
at
in your
all.
head?
It's like when I feel panicky or I'm in a bad mood or I'm feeling depressed, I will sort of go through it in my head. So it's not like a daily thing. It's not like a meditation or anything like that. It's a reminder. It reminds me how lucky I am. And I've always said, even though this horrible thing happened to me, I still feel lucky.
For
I
sure.
still feel lucky the way it happened. Like, I bought him out of this apartment 6 months before we separated. What if that hadn't happened
Right.
and he owned half this loft? I would be in a very different place right now, So I still feel lucky. You can't get through life without a bad thing happening to you.
For sure.
People die, people leave you, people betray you, whatever. But I still do feel lucky.
Because you are. What are your top 3 things that you're grateful for?
Well,
I know it changes and it waxes and wanes and morphs, but like give me 3 things.
The thing that I was most terrified of was just like being financially stable. Don't forget, I've had semi-successful businesses all my life, but I never made any money. I got by, I paid my bills, I had a little extra money to travel or whatever, but my first marriage, my ex-husband was paying the mortgage. I was paying for stuff, I was contributing, but I never could have paid for everything on my own. Second marriage, similar type of situation. And then when I started making money, it was like, oh, wow, like I can really take care of myself. So in a way, that divorce came at the perfect time because I am very financially sound. I own this apartment now. So that's something that I'm truly grateful for. Because if I couldn't pay the bills, what the fuck would I do? My relationship with Ruby, with my daughter. I mean, I'm so lucky to have the type of relationship, because you have an amazing relationship with your kids. So close. Talk to her all day long. text with her all day long. She lives in Lisbon, but she's here all the time. I'm there all the time. And now she's part of my business. So we work together. So on top of like the mommy daughter best friendy kind of thing, we're dealing with the business together all the time. So grateful. So grateful. I always said that I only wanted one child, one daughter, and I got her, and I never regretted not having more kids until now, because if I had had more kids, I could have had more employees.
That's
I'm
so
like,
you.
damn, I need more people.
I need more minions.
Yeah.
Now, I have to say, from an existential crisis perspective, being an only child is rough.
Yes.
It is rough. Like, you don't have people to share
Correct.
all of it with. The financial pieces, the emotional pieces, the logistical pieces, the experiencing your parents as older people, like you're on your own.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't always work out when there's multiple kids that things are great. Like, often the burden is one person's,
Right.
but it just being an only child means ultimately when the proverbial shit hits the fan, you're on your own. And so that was always really interesting to me. I always knew you loved being an only child.
I did.
What also occurs to me about you is when I was doing therapy with people during COVID from all around the world, all different ages, the people who did the best during the isolation of COVID to the number were only children.
Interesting.
Every single person that I was working with that was like thriving in the midst of that situation were only children.
Yeah.
Because they know how to entertain themselves
Right.
and how to be in the world by themselves. So that was really interesting to me. But I do, as an only child, feel that existential dread of two of my mothers are gone. My stepfather's gone. I have my mother and my stepmother and my father. My father's 91. My stepmother's 82.
Yeah.
And I definitely feel that like juggling existential circus music playing in the background, like waiting to see who's sick now.
And I think one of the reasons I think it is so hard for me as an only child is because I was so loved. I was the only grandchild on both sides. My grandparents like
Worshipped and
doted
adored
on
you.
me, My parents doted on me. They're almost all gone. Like, my dad is the only one left. I had all these people that loved me and would do anything for me. And of course, my daughter loves me, but it's a different kind of love than a mother's love or a father's love. So I'm looking at my family kind of slowly disappearing. And at the same time, I'm getting divorced. And this man who made me feel like, didn't, if I got wrinkles, he didn't care. He loved me. If I got fat, he didn't care. He loved me. Like, he just loved me unconditionally. And that's gone. So I'm like, okay, I'm really like alone in this world, because like my dad is great, but I'm taking care of him now.
Right.
Not the other way around.
Right.
Maybe that's one of the reasons I rely on my friends so much,
Well, I think.
But you can only rely on them up to a point.
Well, because they also have aging parents.
Yeah.
At one point, I remember thinking my mother was so isolated as the dementia was getting worse. And people were like, well, doesn't she have friends that can help her? I was like, her friends are in their 90s.
Yeah.
They can't help her. Like, there's only so much they can do for themselves, let alone for her. I think this is my first like full year with my mother gone. We had a really complicated relationship, but the reality that she was here one minute and gone the next, kind of like getting divorced in that way.
Yep.
Like, you were in a totally solid relationship and then it was totally not.
The next day it was
the
over.
next day. And so I'm remembering what I wanted to say to you related to what you said before, which is you have no idea what's coming next and you don't know when or what or where or how until it happens. So what it is right now is not going to be what it is in 6 months, a year, 5 years, because there's variables you can't control for.
Right.
And that could mean a partner. It could mean a husband. It could mean a million different things. It could mean you decide to move to Madrid. I don't know. One of the ways that I try to manage that stress clinically is to be as present as I can in my life in the moment
Right.
and force myself to not look over the hill all the time, because you don't know what's over the hill. I have no way of controlling for all of those variables.
No, I mean, what I've been saying is when you think you're in a solid relationship and you have a partner and you love each other and everything's great and it's taken away from you in a split second, you can only live in the moment. I was never one of those people that's like, live in the moment. It's like now I'm like, I have to, because like, if that can happen, anything can happen. It's scary. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's really scary to like move into my 60s alone. And I don't know where it's going. And you're right. It's like leaving my house every morning. New York, it's like you never know what's going to happen and you never know what's around the corner, as Carrie Bradshaw says. But, you don't know if it's good or bad. You don't know if you're going to get hit by a bus or you're going to meet the man of your dreams or find money on the street or fall on the curb. Like,
Right.
you just never know what's going to happen. So I think about that a lot. It's a metaphor for life for me, New York City. And I mean, I feel so lucky to be here
Mhm.
because to feel like you're a part of something, like a collective
Right.
kind of situation, is comforting.
Right.
It's one of the things that comforts me. Like if I'm feeling like anxious or depressed or whatever, I can just take TJ for a walk and I meet people and I talk to people and I always come back feeling better.
Right.
Like, oh, okay, like maybe this is just what life is. Maybe it's just like moving through and having these little encounters, and I don't
Right.
know.
I think it's funny. I'm thinking now about this morning when I ran out to go to the little market around the corner. It was raining, people had umbrellas. And I think in another world, people would have been a little grumpy. But for whatever reason, people were smiling and kind of like looking at each other and like laughing, because some people had umbrellas, some didn't. There was one guy taking off his shirt in the middle of the street because he was getting soaked. And I walked into Rigger Hill and I felt a part of something. I was present.
Yep.
I noticed all the kids. I checked on all the dogs. It felt like being part of a community in a way that living other places doesn't always feel. And it forces you into the present. And we talk a lot about your presence in the world during COVID. And I feel like you were so present. You weren't constantly
You're right.
panicking about what was gonna happen.
You're right.
You had to go to the post office every day. You had to package up your things. You waited for the guy to deliver the other stuff. Like, you had a cadence to your life that forced you into a presence.
Yes.
And so you ultimately were so much less anxious.
Oh, I was.
During COVID than
I
like
loved COVID.
90%.
It was just me and Ruby, like all day long, hanging out, watching TV, making delicious meals,
making
her
masks.
working on her business, me working on my business. It was great.
Right.
But
loved that
it.
Wasn't the case for a lot of people.
I know.
But if I look back on what the magic coping skills were for you, it was being present. Like, your business held you up and the cadence of your life was very much present and very much not like.
Well, what they say about retirees is that, first of all, when a person retires, it's the time in their life that they're most likely to die, because the second that they don't have purpose anymore, they lose everything. And that's never going to happen to me because I'm never going to stop working, because I love what I do. It's like my hobby that became my career. But I think it's really important to have purpose. And it can be anything. It can be volunteering. I mean, it can be anything.
Yeah, I'm going to call it two different things. As a clinician, I'm going to call it an identity, because I think as people age, layers of identity fall away.
Yeah.
So for a lot of women or people who parent, there is a moment where it feels like that identity has vanished.
Yep.
From there are other identities, but if they're not secure identities that you feel good about, you kind of feel lost. People kept saying to me, "Oh my God, your kid, you're like such a mom. What are you going to do without your kids?" And I was like, "Are you kidding?" Like I was so there was no dread in that for me at all. I was psyched to get to know my kids as adults, but I was also really excited to have room for my other identities. And I think that's the thing that makes aging happen in fast forward for some people.
Yeah.
Is when you sit down and you don't get up, you don't get up. Like when you stop doing things, it makes it harder to do things. And so if you have like effervescent identities that make you feel good about yourself and give you purpose, it's one of the reasons we all love pets, right?
Yep.
They give us purpose and cadence.
Yes.
And we have a thing we have to do for another being.
Feel needed. Yeah.
And there's somebody greeting you when you get home, you have purpose. I think one of the other things about your life that is so healthy is how connected you are to all the people that are your clients, right? Your the people who buy jewelry from you feel a kinship to you, and you communicate with them constantly.
Yes.
And you know what jewelry
forget,
they have.
I had stores for 16 years and I knew all my customers, and so many of my customers became my friends.
Right.
It's very different when you're selling online. It's a complete, like I have so many customers that have spent tons of money with me. I know what they like. I don't know what they look like. I don't know what their life is like. I don't know if they have kids. I don't know anything about them. Whereas it's strange because I have this kind of back and forth conversational relationship with them, but it's completely different.
Right. Right. I mean, the ultimate story about how crazy that is you were selling jewelry to my stepfather's daughter who lives around the corner, who I hadn't seen in 38, 40, 45, like a million years. And one day she walked in here and the whole thing came together.
I think about that all the time because things like that seem to happen to me. I don't know what it is, but
that was crazy.
That was crazy.
That was very crazy.
But that's a good example of something. She became a friend.
Right.
And it's very hard to make friends later in life. And I think that's part of the problem. You know, we've talked about that in the other podcast, that lifelong friends obviously are very, very special. But I think it's also important to have new friends and have different perspectives and just like new experiences. And it's very hard to make friends when you're older. So that's also something, part of our identities that kind of fall away.
Yes.
We don't expect that. So, you know, friends die, our kids leave, we're alone. It's like, oh man, like just saying that sounds depressing. Like, what's next? Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons why I see our circle of friends as so fortunate, right? Because friends are an evolution, right? You're right. Some of them just, they're layers and layers that fall away. Once your kids aren't kids anymore, that whole thing really changes, or it did for me in the kind of community I lived in.
Me too. You meet so many other parents.
Right.
Yeah.
You become friends with people by proxy because of proximity. And then your kids no longer need you to take them places or drive them or call the other parent.
Yeah, and it changes.
So you stop relating to those people. And the thing that tied you together was really your kids. I think one of the beauties of our relationship is that it's not tied together by one thing. It's tied together by a 45-year history.
Right.
And so there isn't a reason or a season that really changes that.
Right.
I think when we were having kids, and I had 3 kids in 5.5 years, I wasn't such a great friend. Like I wasn't available
Right.
to anyone, including myself. But I think in the place we're at in our lives currently, I feel like I get to relax into the beauty of those relationships, right? Gabby and I became empty nesters the same week,
Same time. Yeah.
right? And so we just fell into a pattern that was very familiar and could fill in a lot of spots for us. My kids left home and I started coming to New York a lot more because
Yeah.
it was easier for me and my kids were close by. And so that's like another whole evolution of our relationship.
Yeah.
And then the existential dread of my mother dying, like you were part of that for me, with me. You and I talk about Poochie aging and what that's like for you. You know, whenever my parents aren't well and you check on me and you make sure I'm okay and you want to know what state I'm in, and literal state, not emotional state. And so I think that the richness of that relationship continues to evolve even in that existential dread. Like I feel like my relationships are better with my friends than maybe
I
they ever
agree.
have been.
Me too. Me too.
Everything else might be going to shit, but my friendships are doing great.
Me too.
So, and the only people left in my life I have culled repeatedly because I'm a nurturer. I had a lot of people in my life I didn't need.
Yeah.
I got rid of all of them.
Yeah.
And now I just have people who give as much as I do. And that's amazing, but that's work. Like that takes intention.
So, like, I know what I've been doing to sort of feel good, just to feel good about myself, to, like you said, sort of keep all that existential dread at bay. I started running. I mean, there's a million reasons why it's great to do any type of exercise, because just the dopamine and just feeling good and just sticking with it.
Right.
The feeling of like saying I'm going to do this and sticking with it, that feels really, really, really good.
Intention and commitment.
I feel
are
healthy. I feel like I'm, doing the right thing for my body.
Mhm.
I know that self-care is incredibly important. The other thing I started doing is collecting art. It's something I always wanted to do. I don't think I would have done that if I was still married, because
Right.
he wasn't into it. He
Right.
thought it was frivolous and I was wasting my money. So when we got divorced, I was like, fuck it, I'm buying art. And these are things that make me feel good about the future, because it's me starting something new that I'm excited about, that brings me joy, that makes me feel like there's more ahead.
Right.
And a lot of it is choice, right? A lot
Right.
of it is just making a decision to do something versus letting life just happen to you.
For sure.
I mean, like you were saying, when you went to the Rigger Hill Market and everyone seemed happy even though it was raining, like, yeah, they could have been depressed. They could
Right.
have said, this is bullshit. Ugh, it's raining. But you can take a situation like that and choose to see it in a positive way, which is what I've been trying to do for 2 years.
Right.
And I do. I'm successful at it most of the
Right.
time.
You're not supposed to be successful at it all the time.
Right. Right.
Right. That's just not how it works.
Right. And that's something I think about a lot. It's Rilke says that no feeling is final. And I think about that. My therapist used to say to me, just because you're feeling something one day doesn't mean you'll be feeling that way the next day. And in the moment, you don't believe it. And then the next day comes and you realize it's true. I sit with that a lot. Like if I'm having a bad moment, I say to myself, it's okay. I'm having a bad moment and tomorrow I'm going to feel better. And I always, always, always do.
Right.
So the experience of believing that and then it happening
Right.
is what's the word I'm looking for? It's
Reinforcement.
reinforcement. Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
No, for sure. I also think something that I think about a lot is feelings are not facts.
Right.
And just because you feel like the world is falling apart doesn't actually mean it is. You need to slow your roll and think for a second. Like you said, your marriage might have ended, but you had all of this opportunity that was a direct result of
Right.
that happening. And I like the word opportunity
Me
because
too.
even the terrible things sometimes provide an
Right.
opportunity
We don't know where they're leading.
to think about it differently or to feel differently about it. You know, I had both my knees replaced across 2.5 years, and that was really hard. But I wouldn't be where I am right now in my body, in my life, in
Right.
my head, if I had not done the work to replace them and repair them and decide to do things differently. There are people that never recover from getting their knees
Yeah.
or their hips or their shoulders replaced. They get lost in it. Maybe they have physical manifestations of things, maybe they don't, but the recovery is really hard work.
Yeah.
And for me, in the moment, it felt like I was being given an opportunity to feel strong in my body again for the first time in a really long time.
So was that the catalyst for you when you started lifting weights?
So the catalyst for lifting weights was multifocal. One was I fell in love with SoulCycle a bunch of years ago, and I stopped doing it because of political reasons. But what I knew was when I did it, it felt so good to me energetically. I felt strong. I felt proud. It like got all of the schmutz out of my brain.
It
So
really clears your head.
yeah,
It's
really,
amazing.
really clears your head. And so there was that. I think I got my knees replaced after I stopped riding. And there was kind of a moment where I realized that I could use my body in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So there was that piece. But to be perfectly honest, my kids never really had grandparents who could take care of them. My parents were never really in a place to take care of all my kids. And I just decided that that was not going to be me. And so the imagery that I use to motivate myself, even on days when I don't want to do the thing that I'm going to do anyway, is me on the beach with my grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I
really
love
like
that.
the
You never
image of
told me that.
it's really the image of Gabby's mom with her like I
Yeah.
remember her being on the beach with
Yeah.
Christopher. And I think for me, I want to be the grandma on the beach with my grandkids so my kid and their person can go away and they can leave their kids with me. I never had that experience.
Yeah.
And I want that for my kids and I want it for me. I want to be vital when I'm 75 or 80. I don't want to be mobility inhibited or unwell or in a position where I can't even enjoy my grandchildren.
Yeah.
And so that helps motivate me.
As a therapist, like how much of making these positive choices, how much does it have to do with self-esteem? Because from what I've read, people with low self-esteem they don't practice self-care and they don't think they're worth it.
Yeah. So I'm going to flip some language for you. Self-care, the term self-care has been overused and
I know.
co-opted, and self-care is not a manicure. So I try to use the term self-compassion instead. And it's just it's a whole different premise. But really what self-compassion means is the words. It's caring enough about yourself and wanting goodness for yourself. And so for me, moving my body and caring for myself, especially the way that I have been, has really been about self-compassion. As a therapist, someone said to me during COVID, I was feeling the weight of what I was doing every day. And they said, Beth, you're metabolizing the pain of 40 people a week. What the fuck is wrong with you? You're supposed to feel horrible. And I was like, metabolizing the pain of it. Like, I had never conceptualized it that way at all. And what I realized was I had to find a way to get that stuff out of my
Yeah, you
system
were taking it on. You were taking it all on.
and chewing and swallowing.
I remember.
And I figured out that if I could create space for myself, just for myself, not as a means to an end for something else,
Mhm.
that would shift things for me. And it did. It really did. I started creating art, which made a huge difference for me, and I started moving my body. And moving my body now in 2025 is 100% about self-esteem. It applies, but it's really understanding that I am worth my own
Right.
focus and effort, and I don't need it to be about someone else. For a long time, exercising was about showing up for
Mhm.
me
Mhm.
in a group fitness
Mhm.
setting because I'm a shower upper.
Mhm.
If somebody's waiting for me, I'm going to go.
Yeah,
What I do now is 100%
for yourself.
about me.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody else is doing. I'm running on the treadmill in the room in my house where the treadmill is by myself. Nobody knows I'm doing it. It's just me.
Mhm.
I'm going to the gym to lift one-on-one with a coach. I'm not doing it in a group because I want it to be all about me. It's a gift. It's an opportunity for me to continue becoming the best version of myself. And I don't feel like I've arrived at the best version of myself yet.
Right.
So, can you tell me about some identities that are evolving for you or that you're curating as you age?
Well, I mean, I've had a lot of different identities in my life. I mean, I'm always who I am underneath it all, but I've never had one career. I started out as a photographer, then I was in the music industry for many years, then I opened my stores, then I opened a cafe, then I sold jewelry, and now I'm starting this podcast. Like, I love the idea of reinventing myself. It makes life exciting. And when I talk about like finding the little moments of joy, being creative is extremely important to me. And I'm never going to be a famous artist or a musician, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about expressing myself. And sometimes that means just finding some amazing jewelry that I feel proud to have chosen and curated, knowing that other people like it also. I love going to museums. When I'm at a museum, like on my birthday every year, I go to a museum. When I am at a museum, I feel like a part of something greater. Like to stand in front of a Van Gogh or a Picasso, you just, it transforms you. It's transformative. And that's something that I've always done. That's the kind of thing that always makes me feel better no matter what. Um, Doing things in my home, like, honestly, like rearranging
Yeah,
my books,
right.
doing my gardening, like, it just makes me feel like I'm contributing somehow. And when I say contributing to my own
To
happiness.
your joy.
Yes.
Mhm.
Like looking at these books beautifully decorated makes me feel good. So I asked my friend Heidi to sit in on the podcast today. And the way this happened is actually really funny. She was over for dinner last week and she walked into the loft and sat down. And the first thing she said was, "I'm having an existential crisis." And it took me aback because I didn't realize that younger people were having crises of their own. And I asked her why, and she told me why. And I thought that's so interesting. Completely different reasons than what Beth and I at our age are going through. So I really just wanted to get a younger perspective on that because I think it's really interesting. When I was a kid, I used to love to read like all the French philosophers. And I kind of reveled in that kind of like, is this it? What's the purpose of life? What's the meaning of life type of questions. But
It was philosophical.
it was more philosophical. It wasn't something where I felt threatened or scared or fearful about the future. But Heidi made me realize that like you can have an existential crisis at any age.
You
So
totally can.
do you want to talk a little bit about what you said to
Yeah.
me the other night?
Well, I think it was so funny because the elevator opened and I think we almost said it in unison. We're like,
Mhm.
I'm having an existential crisis. Okay, you go first, then I'll go. We can compare crises, you know? And for me, I don't know how serious it is or how not serious it is. I'm in my early 30s. So some of my friends are still in the club. Some of my friends are married with kids and like mowing the lawn in the evening. Um, I'm like in the middle. I'm in a relationship. I'm like, what do I do next? And it's just tough. Like, I feel like you guys have been talking about identity and the chapters of your identity. I don't feel like I have as many chapters. So I'm like, where do I go? Do I have to decide who I am? Do I get out of the crisis by distracting myself? Are you really solving the crisis if you're just distracting yourself? Like, where do you go from here? Like,
And is
do
there
I need
even a way to solve it?
yeah, like, how do you fulfill yourself truly and feel like, oh, yeah, I'm managing this crisis without going to the soul cycle classes or buying art? Like, what if you don't have the money or you don't know how you can self soothe yet? I just think it's a really complicated place to be. And one of the parallels I've seen is, do we feel this way sometimes when we're like bored and we have time and space? And we're like, what do we do? But then is keeping yourself busy the right answer?
Well, that's what I was saying earlier is distraction and just like making plans like a Band-Aid, or is it something that actually makes you feel better?
Well, the therapist in me wants to say that it's never good to wallow, right? So like just being like, "Oh, I'm just going to hang out in my misery and wait for it to pass." If you're grieving and you're sad about something, of course you should feel it and acknowledge it and know what it is and examine it, but you shouldn't do that 24 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't, your system's not designed that way. I think we all have kind of versions of existential crises throughout our development as humans. And it happens to different people at different times in different ways for different reasons.
Can be situational.
Right. But where you are totally makes sense to me that you have friends in the club and friends mowing lawns after work, and you're kind of in this place like, which thing am I? And if I'm not either one of those things, what am I?
Mm-hmm.
I think being a person is your the healthiest way to function is to be in a constant state of becoming.
Mm-hmm.
You don't become and then stop.
Right.
Oh, I love that.
That it's so not good for you as a human to think there's a stopping point where you've like figured all the shit out and become what you're supposed to become. I'm going to be 60 soon. I'm not done
Mm-hmm.
becoming.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning about myself. I'm sitting here with a crew doing a podcast with a friend that I never saw coming, right? This is an opportunity to become another version of myself.
And Beth, you said something so interesting the other day when I said, was it a question of acceptance? Just accepting that this is life. We're getting older. And you said, no, it's an evolution. And I really loved that. That made me look at things in a very different way because you never stop evolving.
You're not supposed to.
You're not
And I
supposed
think
to.
the people who end up looking less well are the ones who think you're supposed to stop evolving. I'm a pretty cool version of myself right now that I wasn't 5 years ago
Mm-hmm.
or 8 years ago or last week, right? I think the expectation that you're supposed to arrive makes people feel bad.
Mhm.
right? But if you're not supposed to arrive and you're constantly supposed to be shaping the edges and moving through the tunnels and looking over the hills, it's a much more optimistic kind of way of moving through it.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean that there aren't pieces of that that feel hard.
Do you feel pressure from other people your age or from your family? Or do you feel pressure to do something that maybe you're not ready to do? Or is it just like, I don't know if I should do it today or tomorrow? Like, I know you want kids.
Yeah.
Why, if you're in a committed relationship, why would you wait? Why not have kids now? Well, maybe you're not ready now, but
Yeah.
what is it?
I feel like it's really easy to over intellectualize everything. So
Mhm.
it's like, sure, I want kids, but then actually having a kid is like the bravest, most insane thing a human can do on this earth. Like raising a kid and doing it well is terrifying. It's like, what a commitment. I'm also kind of getting bored of myself. And so I'm like, I love, filling up my own cup and just being selfish. And I love having optionality. Like I can go to the barbecue with my friends and their kids, or I can go to the club. But like I've kind of done that for a while now and I'm getting sick of it. But then I'm like, okay, do I start a family because I'm bored? Like, that doesn't seem like the right answer. I want something bigger. Do I need to have purpose? Is that the right answer? Like, what is the right answer?
I
And
think I can see you over
I can
intellectualizing
argue any
because
way and make it make sense in
right.
my head. And so then
I
I'm screwed.
remember when I almost had Ruby impulsively. I was with her dad for 6.5 years. I didn't feel pressured to have a kid. It was almost like one morning I woke up and said, "This is it. I'm ready to have a kid." Really. And I
None of
did.
us saw it coming.
No, it was really
I
kind
feel like
of
that's the best way to
impulsive.
do it.
But but it was almost like a feeling that like once it was there, I couldn't ignore it. I knew I was ready, period.
Can
And
I
I did it.
ask you a question?
Yes.
Can I be your therapist for a second?
Yes, please. I don't have one.
It's free. You should feel free. So my question is, why do you only have two options? Why is it the club or the lawn? Why is it to have kids or not to have kids? What if you're moving to Portugal? Or what if you're changing careers or getting a master's degree or opening a
Mhm.
business or becoming a throuple? I don't know. Like,
No, it's a good point. I don't know. I think because I see my life heading there anyway. I think just taking the leap is really scary. And I think what would be interesting to hear from your guys' perspective is like, did you feel a crisis in your 30s also? I didn't feel this in my 20s. My 20s, I was just so oblivious and so like
that's
running
what your
so
20s are for.
fast. And I'm so glad I didn't think very hard in my 20s. But then I feel like I've gotten to this place in my early 30s where everybody kind of starts to peel off. And you're like, okay,
Yes.
what my 30s, 40s, 50s look like? And then when I'm 60, am I going to have this again where my kids are gone and I'm figuring out
For
myself
sure.
again?
Uh-huh.
And I know logically I should just kind of loosen my grip on the idea of my life that I have because it's all going to get fucked up anyway. Like life is just going to life.
It's going to get messy.
And then I'm going to have to react. But I think kind of in this midway point, the decisions feel really consequential.
Yeah.
And I wish I could just be impulsive and choose. Like it feels scary too.
What's the fear?
Oh my God, I'm already exhausted. And then I have to raise a kid.
The thing that I want to honor for you and everyone else your age and under is we are living in a weird world, weirder than a world I've ever lived in. And so there is like all of this white noise in the background that makes you wonder about your choices, right? I have 3 kids all in their early to mid 20s. And they have all said to me on separate occasions, I hope you're not planning on grandchildren, which ruins the plan, right? Because clearly I am planning on grandchildren. If I have to borrow them from someone, I will. But the world we're living in makes it confusing to think about taking that on, right? That for there to be fear in there makes so much sense to me for you, that it adds a layer that makes it harder to make those choices. You also live in New York. It's an amazing city to live in. It's also a really hard city financially, sometimes logistically. Like having kids here is a thing. It's a
Oh my
whole
gosh,
thing.
it's such a thing. And that's a really good point too, because I feel like if I was living anywhere else, I would have 3 kids by now. You know, I would just be like, okay,
Yeah.
what's next? I'm not
Different
gonna
culturally. Yeah.
I don't pay for a house in the burbs with a garage to sit here alone, you know?
Yeah.
But I just think New York moves so fast and you have to keep running. If you stop at all, you're behind. And so adding to your life in New York City feels really scary. And I guess that's my crisis right now, but I don't think it's going to go away. I kind of appreciate myself for thinking it through. So I don't hate my crisis, but
No, you
it's
should
like
be.
this pilot light in the back of my head at all times. Like
It's
what
there
am
for
I
a
going to
reason.
do? Yeah.
It's there for a reason. And the only other philosophical thing I can say to you, from me to you, is every single one of the best things in my life, I did terrified.
Wow, that was intense. But very helpful, actually. Very helpful. Just talking about it sometimes is helpful.
Makes it lighter.
Beth, thank you so much for your insight. You're amazing.
You are welcome.
You're just so helpful and insightful. I really appreciate it. Heidi, thank you for sharing. That was so great.
Of course.
And thank you guys for being with us. I am so happy that you're here. If you want to follow us on Instagram, it's chelseagirl.nyc and Tales from the Junk Pile.